seems to me that every time I see him in the office, he's working and he's hungry. So I decided to write one for this feast day. It's probably been over 30 years since I wrote a homily. Jesus is the light of the world. We might all be better off if we paid a little more attention to the people Jesus pays attention to, the very people for whom Jesus came to be the light in the darkness. And who are those people? Even a quick look at the birth at the Bible reveals that Jesus came for the poor, the sick, the widow, for children, for the outcasts, and the marginalized. And Jesus came for everyday laborers like shepherds, farmers, and fishermen. And Jesus came for people of other faiths, not his own, and people of no faith, and people of little faith, and people of weak faith. And Jesus came for sinners. Jesus came for simple, regular, everyday folks like Simeon and Anna in the gospel today. And we need to pay attention to Simeon and Anna and who they were and who they were not. Simeon and Anna were temple people. Today we would call them church people. And guess what? You folks are today's church people, which isn't to say that you are all holy and perfect. None of us is. Or even that you come to church every week. It just means that you came to church today, that you are here with us right now. Mary and Joseph had brought the infant Jesus, just 40 days old, to present him to God in the temple. But there are no trumpets. There is no welcoming committee. The chief priests and temple dignitaries are nowhere to be found. Who is there to welcome Jesus, the Anointed One, the Messiah? Just Simeon and Anna, a man and a woman who came to temple to pray, just as you've come to church to pray today. Jesus was born in a stable whose first visitors were the local shepherds. Jesus, the Son of God, is welcomed to the temple of God by two unknowns. Jesus came for precisely the most ordinary of folks, and he's coming to the same people today. And so he comes for people who seldom pray, for people who do not know how to pray, people who do not know if they believe in prayer. Jesus comes for people whose prayer is awkward, embarrassed, and filled with distractions. Jesus comes for people who most people do not pay attention to. He came for those who live in the margins, on the edge, for people who are outcasts, ignored, and people who are not sure how to relate to other people, and for people who aren't sure how to relate to God, and for people who are not even sure how to relate to themselves. Jesus comes for the sick and the dying, for the grieving and the depressed, for the anxious and the fearful, for the heartbroken and the heartless. And he comes to comfort, console, and heal them. And Jesus comes mostly for sinners like us, you and me. For all church people are sinners, every single one of us. He comes for those ashamed of their sins, and he comes for those who deny their sins. Jesus comes for repeated sinners, those whose sins are the same over and over again, year in and year out, those who cannot seem to break the vicious cycle of sinning. And Jesus comes for sinners not in anger or vengeance, but in love, kindness, and compassion. His desire towards us is not to punish, but to forgive, reconcile, and restore. Of course, Jesus also comes to call us to change our hearts and our ways. But he always meets us first where we are, inviting us to follow him and to become the persons we were created to be. And so he comes to be the light in our darkness, whatever my darkness and your darkness might be. He comes to shine his light in the darkness each of us knows, in the privacy of our own hearts, in the secrecy of our own thoughts. Christ comes to shine the light of his grace on us and to share the warmth of his love. And he asks us today to pay attention, us to share and shine the light of our own hearts on those around us who sit in darkness. Perhaps you will take your candle home with you today as a reminder both of the light of Jesus in your life and the light in your life that Jesus asks you to share with others. As proof that he comes for every one of us, he gave his life for every one of us on the cross. And now he invites us to sit down with him at his table and to share in the supper he has prepared for us, his body and blood shared with us in the bread and cup of the Eucharist. So on this feast of the presentation, pay attention to ordinary folks like Simeon and Anna and us. And pay attention to Jesus, who pays attention to you. Jesus, who came for you, who came to be the light of the world, the light in your darkness and mine. Jesus, the light no darkness can ever extinguish.